It is the third day of Christmas, and today I have 3 easy holiday appetizers for you that will turn any indoor holiday activity into a party, even if it's just a party for one. Up today, I have, like I said, 3 easy holiday appetizers, but they are accompanying one of my all-time favorite Christmas activities. So I really, before 2020, had no idea how many of our, and not how many, so far 2 of our holiday traditions are already appropriate for social distancing and quarantining. And up today is holiday movie night. So my favorite Christmas movie of all time is The Santa Claus, like Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. I love all 3. But the original number 1 is the best, hands down, as it is in any movie series. Favorite Christmas movie ever. So I want to know your favorite Christmas movie. If you can comment below and tell me what it is, I'd love to hear what it is. If you also love The Santa Claus, that would make me feel so much better. But it is not Rob's favorite, and I can respect that, but he gives me one night where he will watch Santa Claus with me every season. So to make it a little bit more bearable for him, there are usually cocktails, there are usually appetizers, and we turn it into like a little movie watching party. So that's what we are doing tonight, and I'm gonna take you guys with us. First up, I'm gonna do this prosciutto wrapped asparagus recipe, which is super easy. Back when I worked in catering, we sort of had a formula when we were putting together like appetizer menus or hors d'oeuvre menus, especially if it was like an hors d'oeuvres for dinner type of menu. And while those menus were a little bit more extensive, tonight I'm only going to do 3 recipes. I'm going to share the general, like, oven's ready. It's the longest beep ever. Okay. General formula was we would do something sort of snacky pickup that people could like grab. We would do something kind of heavy, like a protein that was filling. So something like that. We would do a dip always. We would do something green, which is what our asparagus is. And typically something sweet, and then something kind of starchy and carby. So that sort of, it's almost like breaking down your dinner plate and looking at what you would serve for dinner. So again, appetizer, something snacky. And then you would always have a protein, something green, a starch or a carb, and then you'd have a sweet. And that was the basic like 5-item menu. Of course, we would expand it depending on the guest count and things like that. But I'm taking that same formula and applying it for us tonight. So there's just going to be 2 of us. So the 3 apps we have coming up are going to be these prosciutto wrapped asparagus. I'm going to do some meatballs, and I'm going to do a little holiday charcuterie board. So starting with the asparagus, I have already snapped this, but I saved 2 pieces because I wanted to show you guys this trick. I don't know if you know this. Some people don't. So the bottom stalk on your asparagus is pretty fibrous and really chewy if you've ever tried to eat it. Most of the time you cannot chew it enough to swallow it. So let's lean in here. You're gonna take it and you're just gonna break. And where it naturally breaks, it's breaking off everything that's fibrous. So I never cut my asparagus. I just take it. Oh. And the break point on every stalk is gonna be different. So just take it and break it. And wherever it breaks, you're getting rid of all the fibrous parts. So now that these are all snapped and washed and cleaned, I'm going to take little bundles, depending on how much asparagus you have, fibers and how thick your asparagus is as well. This asparagus is pretty thin. You can see that. This asparagus is pretty thin. So I'm going to take this. I've got a bundle of about 6 here. That may vary. And I am just going to set it. I pulled this prosciutto straight out of the pack, so you can still see I've got the plastic liners between it. So I'm just going to take it, lay it down, roll it, transfer it to the baking sheet, and that's that. So I'm going to go through and do that with the rest of the asparagus. now I have all my asparagus rolled. I've got it on my cookie sheet. I'm gonna grab some olive oil and just drizzle it on top, just like that. And then sea salt, and just grab and sprinkle. That's that. Now I'm gonna throw it in a 425-degree oven. Take about 15 minutes. So while we've got the asparagus in the oven, I'm gonna do app number 2 for our Christmas movie night, which is a charcuterie board. You guys have seen probably 60 million charcuterie boards put together. So I am not gonna sit here and explain to you what it is that I am doing, because you all would turn this off right now, and that would be incredibly boring for you. So I'm just gonna give you a few little tips that I apply to charcuterie boards. One, anything that rolls, I put in a bowl. Yes, it's gonna look pretty spread out, but I don't like dealing with the mess. So I've got berries in a bowl, and I've got nuts in a bowl. Second tip for you guys is use whatever it is you have. Like, you will look at pretty boards on Pinterest and Instagram and wherever. If you don't have brie, don't use brie. If you don't, I don't know, if you don't have meat, don't use meat. So use whatever it is that you already have at home. I have put together charcuterie boards with like lunch meat cheese, like sliced cheese, and just cut it into like sandwich squares. That's perfectly fine too. Second tip, you're gonna see everybody fold in their meat all fancy. I can never get it to stand up. I don't know how they do it. Maybe one day I'll learn. So don't be afraid to just pile your meat like I'm doing right here. Totally cool. This is permission to just do you. If you have pickles, use pickles. Who cares if they're little baby guys or if they are sliced sandwich pickles? Use what you have and use what you like. That is the number one tip I have for you guys when it comes to putting these together. Second tip, they don't have to be pretty and perfect. Pile it on there. I like pre-slicing my cheese because it makes it easier for everyone when it is pre-sliced. And unless it's a brie, I don't pre-slice a brie or like a blue if I have blue cheese to use. I don't do that because that would be tricky. So that's that. I mean, it really comes together that simple. I also never put my crackers on my tray because I'd rather have more room for, you know, the good stuff like cheese. So that's what I do. I always keep my crackers on the side. Second, I've given you like 16 tips, but I always add something green. If you guys caught the Thanksgiving video about decorating your table, you know that we have a rosemary plant outside, which I don't have a green thumb. It was struggling there for a while, but it is finally, I think now that the weather's like cooling off, it is finally back. It's like starting to thrive again. So I always like to add something green on there for good measure. And yeah, that's that. Really, really simple. As you guys can see, it came together in no time. I am watching the clock on my camera as I'm recording this, and it's been like 4 minutes. So, you know, clearly came together really quickly. Doesn't have to be complicated, and it still looks beautiful, regardless. So that's that. Now time for meatballs. All right, so we are back with the third app. I've got my asparagus done, which is my something green. I have my charcuterie board done, which is my little snacky. And now I'm gonna do the mini meatballs, which are gonna be the something filling. So I've got all my ingredients laid out here, and we're gonna put it together. So first up, I have a pound of hot Italian sausage, Gotta pull the paper off the back. So we got that in there. And then 1 pound of ground beef. Full disclosure, this is gonna make way more than we need for tonight for the 2 of us. But I'm gonna cook them all and I'm gonna freeze them, and then we can have them for easy dinners or whatever. So I've got my 2 meats in there. If you caught the first 12 Days of Christmas video, which was the hot chocolate recipe, you caught that we are trying to stay pretty low carb through Christmas Eve. So this is gonna be a low carb meatball, but it's still super delicious, flavorful, and moist. So don't let that turn you off. Next thing I'm adding is my spices. I have 1 tablespoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. Dump those in. And this full recipe will be in the description of this. I've got, of this video. Here I have a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese that's grated, and then a 1/4 cup of almond flour. Dump that in. That's gonna help bind it. I have 1 egg, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and then I'm gonna add some salt and some pepper. Salt and peppering to taste here. So this comes together really quick. I am gonna do these at cocktail size, like I said, meaning they will be about the size of a golf ball. But this recipe comes together so quickly. I have done this for dinner before and served it with pasta and tomato sauce. So it's just a really good like recipe to have. Now, getting my hands dirty and mixing it all up together. All right, I have my meat all mixed up. Now I'm gonna use my cast iron skillet because I use it for everything. I have just drizzled some olive oil in the bottom there. What I'm gonna do is roll out my meatballs. I'm gonna roll them by hand. Some people will use like a little ice cream scooper, which I do own. I'm just not gonna use it. So I wanna roll these to about the size of a golf ball. And that's what I'm gonna do. Roll them and get them all in the pan. And then we're gonna sear them up. Because of their small size, these will cook pretty quickly. That's what I like about these as well, especially for a weeknight meal, is we will cook all of these in probably about 10 minutes. You can do them in the oven. Before I get these on the stove, let me just state that. You can do these in the oven if that is your preferred method. I would, if you are gonna do that, what I would do is take a cookie sheet, have a wire wrap on top of your cookie sheet, so that way your meatballs aren't like sitting in their own juices and fat. You can sort of let them, let the fat drip to the bottom of the pan. So if you are gonna bake them, you can. I would do them at probably 350, depending on the size of your meatballs, in your oven for maybe 20 minutes. I have not baked this recipe before to tell you for sure, but I would guess you probably need 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, but these are gonna cook up really fast on the stove. The reason I like doing these on the stove is because I like getting that little bit of like sear and crunch on the outside of my meatball, and that is just a preferred thing for me texture-wise. So you don't have to do that by any means. Make it your own. So I'm gonna go finish rolling these meatballs and get them cooked up. And when I'm done, I will get them all plated and ready for the sandwiches. Amateur tip, I don't always know when my meatballs are done. So I pull one out and put it on a plate and slice it open to make sure it's cooked all the way through. Gotta do what you gotta do, y'all. No one wants food poisoning. Throw them on this platter. And because it's just the 2 of us, this platter is gonna be plenty big for all of the meatballs, plus my asparagus, which means fewer dishes. I don't think there's anybody who objects to fewer dishes. To get these on the platter, just some store-bought marinara, whatever brand you like, throw it in a bowl. And get these on there. All right, meatballs on the platter. Get our asparagus bundles on here. All right, asparagus bundles, meatballs, marinara. We're ready to go. All right, I've got my apps, got my cheese board, my prosciutto wrapped asparagus, my meatballs, my marinara. Finally got a glass of wine, got my sweatpants on. It is time for a very festive holiday movie night. Thank you guys for tuning in to day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas. I will see you tomorrow with another fun, socially distanced, isolation, quarantined Christmas activity. We'll see you tomorrow.